So the question I just heard was, what do I do when I don't like the quality of the meetings at my work? And maybe I have a certain comfort in, sort of directing things or leading things or facilitating things or sort of steering my peers a little bit. Because if you're shy doing that, this isn't going to work. But if you are comfortable doing that, and you, Stephen, are, it could go something like this. Meet briefly with each person that's going to be in one of these recurring meetings that you don't like very much. Meet with them one-on-one. And in that meeting, say, hey, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like we could get more out of our meetings if we had just a little more structure. I've been reading about it. Had some thoughts, and then you either share some specific thoughts, or even better, you say, what's your sense? Would you welcome any more structure?
Hmm.
If I showed up and tried to do something a little more structured, would you support me on that? And if they're skeptical or they want to like, well, what kind of structure? You hopefully you've done some prep, so you've got some things to say.
Yeah.
The book you want, if you want a book on this, is called Game Storming, and the
Can you repeat that? It's
game like game playing.
Yeah.
Game storming instead of brainstorming. It's game storming.
Okay.
Right. So this is a diagram inspired by the book Game Storming by Gray, Brown, and Macanufo. And it shows the structure of our meetings. Now, they go into great detail and a whole lot more than this. This is simple. But let me show you what I think a good meeting always does. You've got some roles and an agenda identified up front. Maybe there's a bit of pre-work. There's some closure that's done on prior actions before we start. So we don't go in wondering what the closure is. We've already listed out all the results. Maybe even said, okay, since our last meeting, these things have been accomplished. So you aren't spending the meeting going over results. You could read them in advance. You invoke the meeting with some kind of opening invocation routine or ritual. Should be the same way every time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Toastmasters, bang the gavel, something like that. Hey, welcome to our daily stand-up huddle. But it should be the same every time, very much like saying once upon a time, right? If it's the same words every time, it signals what's about to happen. So opening ritual invocation. During the first section right after that, do something that builds safety and relationship. One of my favorites, and it's got pretty good legs on it, is name something that's happened in your life in the last few days that you're grateful for. Something positive, something good. But it needs to be specific. Like, I'm happy to be alive. Okay, and that's vague. Who's got something specific? And you always lead off by saying, for instance, in my case, I had this really amazing bowl of gluten-free oatmeal because I'm gluten-free. You don't get a lot of oatmeal when you're gluten-free. But we found a brand and we had it for breakfast, and it was like really nice to have oatmeal since it's been ages.
Oh yeah, actually, so, it's pretty good too.
It tasted very good.
That's awesome.
So that's my good news. And so, like, you illustrate by example what you mean. Yeah. Who else has something they're grateful for? And what happens when people answer a personal question is they start to reveal little bits of themselves, like, oh, I didn't know you and your kids went away for the weekend, or I didn't know you had kids, or you find out a little bit about their preferences or their personal life. And there's never pressure there to like compete for the coolest thing you're grateful for. I would say something small. This is not a competition. And they, reveal as much or as little about themselves as they want to, but that has the effect of building a certain amount of relationship. As we learn about each other, we start to trust each other more. So that's how I typically will open. Then we cover on the agenda, so what got done since last time? Now, what do we need to do? We're going to diverge, process, and converge in the body of the meeting. Like, well, okay, here's a problem. What are some things we might do? Okay, what are the trade-offs among those things? All right, so what are we going to do? And then you end with, so who's going to do what by when? And this gets written down. I like to write it on a screen, type it up, put it on a flip chart page, really specific.
And that you provide to everybody afterwards.
And then everybody gets a copy, right?
Yep.
And what you do is you want to go out with people having really clear expectations. And as facilitator, you can say, so Fred, Barney just said he'd get back to you soon. Now, maybe you both are comfortable with that, but as a listener, I got no idea when soon is. Is there
That
a little
means
more
nothing.
specificity? Are you,
Nothing. Yeah.
you know, and you can say, if they're like, no, I'm good with that. Okay, great. Whatever. I mean, you're not there to like make them conform to your standard. But if you sense that Fred's vague promise leaves Barney uncomfortable and Barney's not saying anything, you say, I don't know about Barney, but I'm wondering when soon is. It's like, let me put it this way. When can you both agree it's so late that Barney can call you on the phone and say, so Fred, where is it? Like where on the calendar, where on the clock do I get permission to check in about the lateness of it?
Mm.
That's really what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
And it's like a month from Sunday. Well, that's a little far out. By 5 p.m. today. Great. What time zone? Or we're all local, so it doesn't matter. So that's like Eastern time. Yeah. 5 p.m. Super. So at 5:01, if it's still not here, you're okay with Barney giving you a call to see what's going on. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And
Okay.
you're not trying to get them to make a particular promise. You just want them to make clear promises to each other as part of taking commitment, right? And so you're going to track commitments, track actions, and follow up. And when people end meetings unclear on who's going to do what by when, it's kind of a shitty meeting.
Yeah.
But it's very, very common because people aren't trained.
Yes. Yeah.
And the solution is to train them, usually by example, by doing it yourself. So that is my brief rant on improving meetings where you don't have the authority to change the meeting, but you'd still like to. You get permission from everyone. It's like, I'm thinking about maybe doing something. I want to try something out. Will you play along with me on this? And then at the open of the meeting, it says, so I talked to each of you one-on-one, and you all said you'd be okay with me doing this. Let me just check and see if you all still think this. Because they all agreed to one-on-one. They don't know that everybody else agreed.
Yeah.
Right. So, and by the way, if I'm going off the rails, just like wave me down. All right, I'll stop.
No, this is huge. This is actually
that's what you tell them. So I'm trying this new thing, and if it's like trying to take us from like
you can stop me. It's like
like don't jump from the first floor to the third floor without going through the second floor, like step by step, like work your way up. So if I'm too ambitious, I'm putting in too much structure, and you're like going
I got to do in the increments, right?
It's easy to overcorrect.
Yeah.
Right. The pendulum can swing too far the other way. So that's my brief guidance. I'll summarize is figure out what is most needed. And that can include interviewing your colleagues to see what they're most uncomfortable with or most frustrated about. Come up with a specific thing you want to start introducing in the meetings. Get their okay one-on-one that if you try it out on starting on Monday or whenever, that they go along with it for a little while just to try it out. Then at the kickoff of the meeting, say, okay, I've talked to each of you one individually. Let me check in as a group now. See if we're still okay with this. All right, great. Here's what I'm thinking. And in the entire energy of this has to be that you are selflessly in service to the group and the individuals in the group. It's not about you have your way and they have to conform to your way. Is this not working for you? Is this not working for us? Is what I'm trying ineffective? Oh, okay, well, it was an experiment, and sometimes experiments fail, and that's cool too. Mm-hmm. And you just, and for the last thing you would do is, as you're closing, say, okay, either write down or say out loud. I'd have to write it down. I want 60 seconds at the end. It's actually on the agenda. You have a little feedback form. Say, what did you most like about the new way? What did you least like? And what's another suggestion? Any suggestion you have for improvement? Like, I love the agenda. I hate listening to Stephen's voice and whatever. Who knows? They might.
Right? Yeah.
You have a good voice, but not everyone knows it. And I suggest we have snacks.
Ooh,
whatever. Okay. And you don't have to obey any of this, but you're starting to get the ball rolling. Now you go off and you chew on it, right? You take all the feedback and you work it out. And you say, okay, last time, here's a summary of what we all said we liked and didn't like and want to be different. So are you still okay with me experimenting and being like, junior amateur facilitator here? Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah.
Right? And the more you're serving the group, the better off you are and the happier they are. And Everyone's happy for somebody else to do this.
I noticed that.
And remember that you're good-hearted, you're cheerful. If people are resistant, that's just interesting,
Yeah.
and you want to honor
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, share something, share something. I don't want to share. Okay,
Oh, that's no problem. Yeah.
yeah, you can skip, you can
Mhm.
pass. It's like, who will do what by when? Yeah, I don't want to do it that way. Oh, how do you want to do it? Well, I don't want to make any promises. Okay.
Also interesting if that
Yeah.
happened.
It's
See,
like,
another different thing.
you might want to take that up with the one-on-one afterwards. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm wondering how your
We need to talk
colleagues are
about,
going to, yeah, it's
yeah.
not likely. Yeah. Most people are happy to
But
make commitments.
well, I mean, actually, again, given what we've talked about, that could be something that might happen. It could, and it could identify
They
additional
start to
areas.
feel a little uncomfortable getting
Yeah.
pinned down. It's like, well,
Yeah.
if I know that and always come back with I know that when I feel that way, it's because of,
Mhm.
I know that when I'm reluctant to make commitments, it's because I don't actually understand what's being asked of me.
Yeah.
That's not the only time, but that's one
Yeah.
of the times. Is that happening here? Is there some element of like, I don't even know you gave me an assignment. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Of course you
Well,
can't make promises.
this is huge.
We should take that offline and make this assignment super clear. Okay, that's on me. So now the who will do what by when is I will meet with you one-on-one, and I will work to get it clear enough so that you are happy.
I like that. I like
So
that a lot. And this is
yeah.
actually a really good, this could help.
Mhm.
This is a struggle that I'm having, which is that, and it's something I've been talking with our account managers on, that it has been a struggle setting group expectations clearly coming out of these more advanced strategies. I mean, it's a struggle for me. I don't have a
Right.
process that I can tap into that we've done before as a strategist to do it. It's a struggle for the producers because there's no example of this task that they can look to internally, go, what is that expectation? The
Yeah.
one person that responded to, I sent out those emails to a few people, and the one response I've gotten back so far, she did mention, she has really loved working with me, but one area where there could be some improvement is more clear expectations from me to them, which I thought was really great to hear.
I
Gives
love
me
it.
something to focus on.
Anything else we want in this recording, or are we good to stop here?
I think we're good there.